Hi, everyone. Hopefully, I'm live and you can hear me. If anyone checks in, let me know if you're getting this broadcast and everything is going well. I'd appreciate any comments or even encouragement. This is my first Facebook Live, so there's no way for me to really test it, and I wasn't sure how it was going to go. So, so here are some of my thoughts. I'm Donna Doherty. I'm the Director of Faith Formation at St. Gall Church in Elburn. I am a lay ecclesial minister in the Rockford Diocese and here in Illinois also. And I had some thoughts I wanted to share with you. I know I don't even know what to say, like in such a difficult time, what can we do? And I was wondering, like, what are your emotions like? Because I think everyone has a roller coaster of emotions as we go through this. So what I came to talk to you about today was partially like my faith, what we do, what we can do at home. Since I work with families and kids, that's like my thing. So let's see what I could say. And I'm trying not to like read from a paper and just give you some ideas. I wrote it all out. So we'll see how it goes. So here is, thanks, Father, for checking in and letting me know you're there. Here's my idea. So what would my day be like? I saw Katie's video. Katie Piles, our youth minister, and she gave a little tour of her house. Maybe I'll do that someday, but not today. So right now I'm in the basement, my home office. I did used to work from home for a while, a couple of years or whatever, doing marketing and some other things. So besides that, I've done art classes at my house. And I wanted to like just say that, you know, for me, I'm going through I can't watch the news all the time or look at social media all the time. I love the encouragement and the ideas that everyone's putting out there. Maybe some of it's, you know, good feeling stuff, and we're all in this together, so that's great. But for me, my day looks a little bit like I get up in the morning and I make my coffee, and I could explain a little bit about what my faith life is like. But I wanted to let you know that pretty much everything is Google calendared or whatever for my life because I have so much going on and I try to like keep track. So here's two reasons why I don't do the media too much, and that's because it gets depressing and I find myself going down the rabbit hole. And they always tell you that to stay off of social media or technology too much, surfing the internet, I could like spend endless times looking at different subjects or getting distracted by something very shiny happening, even if it's a good thing. So I don't always check it all the time, but now since this is happening, I'm working from home and I'm trying to gauge, you know, how everyone's doing. I am looking at it more often, so I appreciate all of the positive things that are out there. So let's see. What I would like to do is give you some helpful hints, talk about our faith, and hopefully some encouragement. I know that Padre Pio is, you know, great with pray, hope, and don't worry. So I'm trying to follow that along. And the other thing that is very important for me as a day-to-day thing is to focus on gratitude. I'm very grateful for my house, having running water, all kinds of things. So I'm keeping my focus on being grateful and joyful, and it's a decision. So sometimes it's easier than others. And also that I think that I don't want to get bogged down. So here, let's say keeping a positive attitude is definitely going to be helpful as we go through these maybe months of being home and sort of on lockdown or just going to the store. I'm a talkative person, so for me, not being around people can be very interesting, but I also have that introvert side too, so I like my downtime. And writing and thinking. Something I like to do is to do scripture reflection, and so I'm going to give you a couple of things. I did run across this morning, Relevant Radio has this great prayer challenge, the prayer versus pandemic, and you can actually look at sign up as you're going to be one of the people praying in the world. You can see how that reflects on the map there are these circles of big praying areas in the world. And there's also the pandemic map, and you could see how many people might be affected in the pandemic, and they're updating it every day. Now, I'm not going to say that I want to look at or compare both of those all the time, but I thought it was pretty interesting that right now there's over 55,000 people in the world registered to pray on Relevant Radio. So I find that somewhat encouraging. You could also do this with the kids. Look at the map, maybe not the pandemic one, but see where the biggest circles of prayer are and figure out what those places are. Geography was never one of my things, but with my kids, I used to do that all the time. So you could compare the map. Just get yourself a map to use. So when I do a scripture reflection, I go to Mass and I bring my Magnificat, which is a magazine that has all of the readings in the Liturgy of the Hours. And I jot notes around the edges of the pages. I really encourage Mass journaling. I appreciate that because we can hear a lot of things, or you might hear something in a homily. Yes, I do take notes. Father knows this. I take notes and I write down, what did that priest say? And I write his name there so I know who was doing the homily that day, and see some inspirations. I underline words, so it's a little bit of a Lectio Divina, even though I've already read those scriptures at least a week ahead of time because I do scripture reflection for the Sunday readings. I get so much more out of it having done that, so I recommend that now, and there are some links on the Faith Formation web pages that you could do that too. Let's see, what else did I want to say? The other thing for families, there's a link on there for the Sunday Connection. Loyola Press does a Sunday reflection and even activities for your family and by age groups for every Sunday. So there's a link on the Faith Formation web pages for that. I wish I could say that my schedule getting up every morning was like at 4 a.m. and I prayed and then I exercised and I did all of the things that maybe you should do and I would recommend to people to do, but that's not me. My schedule fluctuates weekly. I'm a little more of a night person, and I have some health issues and I'm maybe not going that quickly in the morning. So discipline and habit are something that I need. I think everyone needs. So I shared with Faith Formation recently a lot about things that you could do at home, which I'll give you a couple ideas that I sent to them, and I'll put some on the Faith Formation web pages. But also that I put things on my calendar so that I don't skip them. It's kind of a helpful thing for me to think like if it's on there, I've got to do it. So I recommend doing a schedule no matter what it's like for you now. My usual ideas are kids are already used to a schedule. Make a schedule for home now so that everyone gets, their time at the computer or their schoolwork done, and then, schedule in fun times to do different things. So I have a lot of ideas for that and coloring pages, and there's children's bulletins, things that you could do with the kids to do scriptures, reflections, different age groups, and even video. Whatever you can do that would help. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Amy. Thanks. And the Giovanni family. Giovanni, I miss you. Send me pictures. He does a great coloring app, and I've printed some of them and posted them of Jesus. It's a Bible coloring app. So if you're bored, I actually downloaded it myself, and I do that sometimes at night while I'm watching television. Yes, I do watch television. So let's see. What else did I want to say? Mary's Mantle Journal. I created this Mary's Mantle Kids Journal, so I have to tell you, I'm not totally doing the adult plan, don't tell anyone, but I'm mostly doing the one that I set up for the kids. It's kind of working for me, so whatever you can do. So even on Wednesdays this week, at the 4:30 time that I would normally get together with grades 1 to 4, I'm going to do live opening the word on the Faith Formation live Facebook page. So check that out at 4:30. We'll sing the song together, have the kids check in, and I'll try to call them out and, wave at them or something. And maybe we can get some fun connection that way too. I'll talk about scriptures and the virtue for the week. The last week was like self-control. I thought that was hilarious for people staying at home and kids being on top of each other and trying to do so much, or maybe even not getting along. because I remember that from my kids, especially during the summer. Find ways that you could keep them busy or on their schoolwork, and find ways to have fun too in your learning experience. So I would say, if you could, set up a time to pray, whether it's in the morning or at 10 o'clock, whatever you think is easiest. But like I said, that we're doing this virtue, and I'm asking the kids to practice this virtue every day. In the morning is when you really should look at it, so you know what you're going to do for the Mary's Mantle program. Well, the kids know for the whole week, so that makes it a little bit easier. But for myself and for everyone else, on my Faith Formation calendar, I have the virtue that pops up like an appointment. So if you looked at the calendar, you could see what this week's virtue is, even if you didn't have the calendar available at the time. So I asked the kids to practice that virtue every day and pray the prayers on the card, which are just rosary prayers. So we're going to do that on Wednesday live also. So let's see. In the morning, I always ask Saint Mother Teresa and Mother Mary to help me out during the day. I wouldn't say that I have like an exact prayer schedule or reflection time, because I'm always doing something for work and I feel like I'm in touch with my faith all the time. But I think that from the morning I wake up and I'm thinking about being in the presence of God and what can I do that day all the time. So when I talk to the kids, I say, this is my mom's prayer. If mom's out there, she watches. I always tell them that my mom says, good morning, Lord. I'm reporting for duty. And she's waiting for what's going to happen today and what God might want her to do. So I think that's kind of a good attitude, and that's where I start, trying to stay in the presence of God the whole time. Let's see. There's so many creative links. I'm going to go over a couple of things, tell you about my favorite scripture that really was pointing to the feeling for today, and leave you with a couple things. I have, and I'll probably post what I wrote for today because it kind of covered everything. But games and virtues and practicing things, if you could schedule those in. I even gave the Faith Formation program like a list of games that you could do and things for health, things for exercise. And I have to tell you that I'm really going to promote the VBS links, because the VBS songs, I have 4 of them, are a great way to warm up with prayer. And so it's like your body in prayer. You pray, you sing, you do hand motions, you do movements, you kind of dance, you get your heart rate up, and then you end it with God of Wonder song and thanking God. So you start thanking God, you kind of end thanking God for your day. And I think that could be a great thing. I recommend that families, watch the Mass on Sunday morning at 10:30 if you can. If you can't, you can plug in and watch it sometime on the rest of the day. But I'm thinking, could this be easier than trying to get the kids in the car and go to church? You could all make it to the living room or the dining room table, make a plan, set it up, and do it. So find ways that you can do different things. I have things that I'll be putting on the website that are like meal planning and other things besides exercise or whatever. But one of my fun things is a habit tracker. So there are habit trackers for the kids, so they could plan their day out with when they're going to do their prayer and whatever and their schoolwork. But my favorite habit tracker, which I would have loved when my kids were little, is the sibling love habit tracker. Doing nice things, saying nice things for your siblings. I want to include, they should add in that, parents, but they can pick what they want, and then they can track every day whether they did it or not by coloring in the square or Xing it out. So here's my scripture. My scripture is, and I'm going to read it to you so I don't mess it up. My scripture, because I think that this is totally relevant, if I can find it, is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, 16 to 18. Yes, I do have the scripture memorized, like the chapter and verse, but I'm not finding the scripture right now. Basically, it says, rejoice, pray constantly, and thank God in all circumstances. All circumstances, even the ones that are rough, even the ones that are tough. and to keep God in mind and that He's always out there. You're not alone. So those are some of my ideas. And then I'm going to say one thing about the book that we were reading for the Christmas gift that you might have received from St. Gall, Still Amidst the Storm. There's a excerpt of it and an explanation again in the bulletin coming out this weekend. But I think it's great for this time period and the stuff that we're going through. So hopefully you get to read that or get it on Kindle if you didn't get one, and to think about those ideas about being peaceful in an ancient world, an anxious time. I meant anxious. So I'm going to sign out by saying that I pray that you all feel the presence of God and His warm, loving embrace in this time. And sign out as I do usually on my emails is St. Francis signed his letters. So I say it in Italian, pace bene for my Italian friends there and Italian families. And then pax et bonum, which is Latin, and in English, peace and all good. See you next time.